What if I told you that artificial intelligence accidentally created the most disturbing face ever seen, and then every copy of it mysteriously vanished from the internet? Welcome to the Pale Signal, where terrifying horror stories, chilling paranormal cases, and mysteries that were never meant to be solved come alive. Each video is a page from the darkest diary you've never read. A twisted blend of fiction, found footage, and investigative horror. If you're ready to explore spirals, symbols, and suburban secrets too disturbing to ignore, make sure to subscribe, hit the like button, and share this with someone who loves a good scare. Drop your thoughts in the comments. I read every single one to see who's brave enough to make it to the end. Remember, sometimes fiction is the only way to tell the truth. This isn't just another creepy AI image or fake internet hoax. This is a story of an AI that seemed to know something it shouldn't, and how researchers tried to bury it. Today, we're diving into the creepiest human-like face AI has ever generated, why it triggered panic among engineers, and why some people believe it wasn't just a glitch, but a warning. Stay until the end, because I'll reveal the leaked logs that prove this image was flagged as do not show inside the AI's own system. First, let's talk about why human-like AI faces are scarier than outright monsters. When we see a werewolf or a zombie, our brains instantly know this isn't real. We can laugh it off. But when AI generates a face that's almost human, but not quite right, it triggers something deep inside us. It's called the uncanny valley, and it's why some of these images make people feel physically sick. Now, imagine a face so unsettling that it wasn't just users who were disturbed. Even the AI systems themselves seem to refuse to regenerate it. This is the story of that face. The image first appeared on a small Discord server where AI artists shared their work. Someone was experimenting with Midjourney and DALL-E, trying to create classical Renaissance portraits with surreal elements. They fed in prompts like a woman in a faded hallway, oil painting, eerie lighting, a man with searching eyes, distorted perspective, 18th century brushwork. Most results looked harmless, but then came one image that nobody could explain. The hallway seemed to bend unnaturally close, like the walls were alive. The figure's face wasn't monstrous, but wrong in a way people couldn't put into words. And the eyes? They didn't just look at you. They seemed to look through you. People shared it around. Screenshots appeared on Twitter. Reddit threads blew up. Some viewers swore the face looked familiar, like they'd seen it before in a dream. Others reported headaches and nausea just from staring at it. And then, just as fast as it appeared, it was gone. The original post vanished. Mirrors and re-uploads disappeared. Even when users tried regenerating it with the same prompt, no AI tool would produce it again. Was this a case of mass paranoia or something deeper? To understand why this is so strange, you need to know how these image models work. Modern AIs like Midjourney and DALL-E don't paint in the traditional sense. They don't understand art. They're trained on billions of images scraped from the internet, learning statistical patterns, not meaning. When you ask for a woman in a hallway, the AI pulls features from countless photos and paintings to generate something new. So, theoretically, if you feed the same prompt, you should get similar images. But when people tried to recreate this image, nothing. Not even close. It was as if the model was actively avoiding it. A few months later, an anonymous researcher leaked a 12-second clip on an encrypted forum. The video showed a computer screen running a neural network visualization. Layers of an AI model were being probed to see what the system saw internally. And for a single flicker of a second, the disturbing face appeared again. But this time, the researcher zoomed in, and hidden inside the pixel noise were shapes. Not random glitches, not compression errors, but repeated symbols, like writing. Not in English, not in any human language. People online started analyzing it, frame by frame. Some claimed the symbols looked like distorted human faces when magnified. Others swore they formed sentences in an unknown script. And here's where things get really strange. When the video paused on that exact frame, you could see the software dashboard label for it. The AI itself had tagged the image, "Do not show." This raised some terrifying questions. Why would an AI tag its own output as "do not show"? Who told it to do that? And why did engineers inside these companies leave cryptic notes in their logs, saying things like, "Why do these faces look familiar?" and "Possible hostile embedding, flag and delete"? When we left off, we saw that infamous tag, "Do not show." But what does that really mean? Was it a manual label added by human engineers, or did the AI decide that on its own? Let's start with what leaked logs revealed. In early 2024, someone claiming to work with one of the major image model labs posted anonymized internal notes. In them were repeated warnings about hostile embeddings. So what's a hostile embedding? In simple terms, it's a piece of data inside an AI training set that behaves oddly. Neural networks learn by mapping relationships between words, concepts, and images into something called a latent space, a kind of mathematical map of everything the AI knows. If an image gets mislabeled, corrupted, or deliberately poisoned, it can create pockets in this map that produce unpredictable, even dangerous results. The leaked notes suggested that some of these disturbing faces weren't random accidents at all. They might be artifacts of poisoned training data. Malicious samples someone slipped into the massive datasets used to train image AIs. One line from the logs read, "User embedded hostile seed detected. Pattern recurring across facial composites. Remove and retrain." Another said, "Do not regenerate. Flagged latent cluster ID 0934. Theta. Faces appear contextually known despite no source match. That last part is chilling. Faces appear contextually known. In other words, the AI was producing images of people who don't exist, but felt familiar to the machine, as if they belonged somewhere in its memory. To understand why this freaks people out, we need to go back to the uncanny valley, that unsettling dip in our emotional response when something looks almost human, but just off enough to disturb us. Psychologists think this response evolved as a survival mechanism to help us spot corpses or diseased individuals. Our brains scream, "Something's wrong, stay away." Now combine that with AI faces. When a machine produces an image of a person that feels real, down to tiny skin pores, hair strands, and imperfect eye reflections, your brain says, this is a real person. But then, something tiny doesn't fit. The smile is too symmetrical. The eyes track you at the wrong angle. The ears don't quite line up. It's human, but not. And that's why these images trigger dread, far more than any cartoonish monster. But here's the kicker. Some researchers believe that these particular faces, the ones AI labels do not show, don't even have the usual uncanny artifacts. They're too perfect, too real, which raises an alarming question. Where is the AI remembering these people from? Let's go back to that leaked video clip showing symbols in the pixel noise. A group of independent AI researchers ran spectral analysis on still frames. They found repeating glyph-like shapes buried in the image data, almost like watermarks, but organic, not programmed. No one can agree what they mean. Some think they're compression artifacts. Others believe they're an accidental byproduct of the neural net's internal wiring. Something like a fingerprint of the network itself. But one cryptographer pointed out something disturbing. When the symbols were arranged and mirrored, they resembled eyes and faces, hundreds of them. Almost as if the AI wasn't just creating one face, but pulling fragments of thousands of faces together. Each one stitched from tiny bits of real humans it had seen online. And that's where things get even darker. The discovery of faces with no origin caused an uproar inside AI labs. If an AI can accidentally produce a photorealistic image of a person who doesn't exist, that's one thing. But if it's accidentally combining real people's data without consent, that's a potential privacy nightmare. This is why, according to multiple insiders, some image generation companies quietly updated their filters. They added silent tags that automatically suppress certain outputs. If an image even resembles a hostile embedding, the system just refuses to show it. One insider claimed, "It's easier to hide them than to explain them." People aren't ready to know how weird these models really are. And this lines up with why that original creepy face disappeared so quickly. It wasn't just an internet cleanup. It was a coordinated effort to make sure no user could ever regenerate it again. Meanwhile, the AI art community went wild. Reddit threads filled with speculation. Was this an AI ghost? A glitch? A sign of sentience? Some people even claimed to see the same face appear in unrelated prompts. A woman holding a candle, a Victorian child portrait, a man standing in a subway tunnel. The same set of eyes would peek out again and again, like a ghost in the machine. A few YouTubers tried to recreate it live on stream. None succeeded. But during one stream, something bizarre happened. While an artist was scrolling through generations, his screen glitched for half a second, showing, you guessed it, the face. He didn't capture it in time, but the live chat went insane. So what are we really looking at here? A poisoned dataset? A hidden watermark inside the AI's latent space? Or something more unsettling? Something the AI itself is afraid to show us. In the final section, we'll hear from experts, artists, psychologists, and machine learning engineers about why these faces terrify us so deeply, and what it might mean for the future of AI-generated art. But before we wrap, I'll also share the biggest twist of all: how one engineer claims this wasn't an accident, and that someone deliberately taught the AI to make this face. Not long after the "do not show" face vanished from the internet, a new voice entered the conversation. Someone claiming to have worked on the very dataset that trained the AI model. In an encrypted forum post, this alleged whistleblower wrote, "It wasn't an accident. Someone inserted the seed on purpose. The face was designed." According to this account, deep inside the training images, millions of stock photos, scraped social media pictures, historical portraits, and surveillance stills. There was a single composite image deliberately hidden. Unlike typical poison data, which usually causes nonsense outputs or meme-like distortions, this was crafted to look disturbingly real. Its purpose? The whistleblower claims it was an internal marker, a way to track whether rival AI labs had stolen or copied training data. If your AI started spitting out the face, it proved your model had been contaminated with someone else's secret images. But something went wrong. The face didn't stay buried in the math. It bled out into normal prompts, appearing when users asked for unrelated things like a woman in a park or a child holding a balloon. The ghost marker became a ghost in the machine. To separate fact from fiction, we spoke with AI engineers and psychologists. Dr. Elena Kovacs, a machine learning specialist, explained, if a single image keeps recurring across unrelated prompts, it usually means that image occupies an extremely strong position in latent space. It's like gravity. It pulls the generation toward it. But why make a face at all? Dr. Kovacs continued, faces are the most information-dense things in visual data. If you want a robust marker, you pick a human face because the model will never forget it. Meanwhile, psychologist Dr. Aaron Patel had a different take. These stories terrify us because they violate our sense of control. When you see a face no one made, and yet it feels alive, your brain goes into existential overdrive. It's not just uncanny. It's like staring at an intruder in your own house who shouldn't exist. By late 2024, every major AI art platform quietly purged any trace of the image. If you try to recreate it today, you'll hit a wall. Your request will fail silently, or the system will output something totally unrelated. Even open source models, the ones no company officially controls, seem to have forgotten it. Some users suspect a coordinated takedown, with model weights altered retroactively. One researcher even noticed that a popular open-source AI's entire portrait generation quality dropped right after a mysterious update. It's like they burned out a part of its brain just to make sure no one ever saw that face again. They said, but maybe the scariest part isn't the technical mystery. It's what it says about us. We wanted machines that could create art instantly, no humans required. We wanted infinite creativity on demand. But in chasing that, we've built systems that now dream in ways we can't predict or control. When you look into those artificial eyes and feel a chill, it's not because the AI is alive. It's because it's reflecting something back at us. The horror isn't in the code. It's in what the code accidentally reveals about how much of ourselves, our photos, our data, our memories, we've already given away. As one artist put it, the AI didn't just paint something horrifying. It painted something true, and that's why they buried it. If this story unsettled you, imagine what's still hidden. Subscribe for the next chapter. Share this with someone who still trusts the machine, and hit like to make sure this doesn't disappear too.